because Fabrizio Romano said last night that Thomas Frank softened the pressure of him by beating Dortmund, but now after yesterday's result, his job is back at risk. And I'm just thinking, like, what? Like, how is his job still not at risk after the Dortmund game?
I think it's so. What that implies is we are literally taking it game by game at the moment.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying after the Dortmund game, like, or even before the Dortmund game, like. You can't take these situations game by game. Either you sack him or you back him completely.
Yeah,
you can't just have it a game by game situation. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, either you believe in him or you don't.
Yeah,
like taking it game by game is crazy. Like having him in this position where he's literally just being judged on a game to game basis. First of all, leaves a large element to luck happening. Like whatever you want to say, yesterday he missed lots of chances. Are you basing him on the fact that we played better, or are you basing him on the fact that we got a bad result? What's exactly the judgment here? Because now you're saying he's back under pressure. I think for me, they have. Maybe it's a case of they don't believe in him and they're starting to look for alternatives. But what it implies is, no, he's having lunches after every game. There's no real rumours about them seriously like, okay, this is the end for him. There's just rumours of discussions happening and stuff like that. And a lot of people, there's a split in the boardroom and things like that. But whether that leads to him going, we don't really have any concrete information about that at the moment, about anyone saying that his time's done at Tottenham. He's finished. No one's really said that, and they're judging him game by game, which is not good for anyone. It's not good for the manager. It's not good for the players. It's not good for the fans, and it's not good for the club as well when it comes to future planning, in terms of where do we go. But I guess the problem you have is, which I agree with. You know, you don't want to keep chopping and changing manager. You want to stick with something. You want to build on a project. And I completely get that, but you also need to be building behind the right guy, and the guy who's the club can get behind and the fans can get behind, and who really fits the club. You need to get behind the right fit, and this is completely the wrong fit.
Yeah.
And they have to cut the cord at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that. If it was up to me, he would, like I keep mentioning, he would have gone at half-time at West Ham, you know, done a lot more to be sacked than what Martin Jol did at the time, and he shouldn't be Spurs manager anymore. That's the reality. It's going too badly. It's getting into a really bad situation, scary situation. We've been through it all. But I would prefer if they just came out through the media and said, Thomas Frank's our guy, we're sticking with him till at least the end of the season, as opposed to what's going on now and going at the end of the game, his job's at risk, his job's safe now, his job's at risk, just keep going from one end of the spectrum to the other. Do one of the other, you know what I mean? Either sack him, or come out and say his job is completely safe and make it a non-story till the end of the season.
I
Do
agree.
one or the other.
But then again, if they say that and then we continue to completely tank, like, they might have to go back on their word. That's the thing. So they don't want to do that. But I think right now they do want to keep him. I don't think they want to sack him right now. Yeah, but
if it becomes untenable, I think it's already untenable. If it becomes untenable in their eyes, and that's a different conversation for a different day, but at least for now, we'll know their intentions. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So I think they can still come out and say that.
I also think the dreaded vote of confidence doesn't look good for Frank either. You know what I mean? Because we all know, like, once a board comes out publicly, instead of like leaking it or something, when they come out publicly and say, he's our manager, we back him, we know that's usually, weirdly, a sign of a manager on his last legs.
Do you think the case is they're just sticking with it till the end of the transfer window? Because I know we're not an attractive proposition, but it's easier for us to bring in players with a manager than without a manager.
I don't think that's it, to be honest. I think it probably has an effect. You don't want to be sacking a manager during the transfer window. I don't think it's they're waiting till the end of the transfer window to then sack him. I just think they don't want to sack him during the transfer window, but I also don't think they're going to sack him after either. I think they're going to stick with it for the time being.
But how long? How bad does it have to get for them to actually push that button?
I think it's already gone beyond that point, so it could be any time now, but I think they are sticking with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's coming into their thinking, but I think also what's obviously coming to their thinking is, like, where do we actually go? If we sack Frank, who can we actually bring in? Because no fan can tell you even an option of who they want as interim from now to the end of the season. No fan can tell you even what manager can come on a full-time basis if we were to sack Frank from now for the foreseeable future. So it's like, what are they thinking behind the scenes? Like, who are the actual options? Is it Johnny Heitinger? Is it Justin Cochrane? Is it to get Ryan Mason back? Like, none of these options are good.
I think if we had a competent board who had football people who had good knowledge of the game in and around the decision-making department, I think they could do what Brighton did, you know. They could find a Potter or find a De Zerbi or find a Hertzler in Tottenham's version of those managers who are, you know, maybe lesser known, but, you know, looking at their body of work, you can tell they're going to be a good fit and can tell what they would bring, and get someone like that in right now. You know, maybe it's the guy from Celta Vigo or maybe the guy from Stuttgart or whatever. Look around Europe potentially and see who's a good fit. But we don't have that knowledge on the board. We don't have any creativity on the at board level. They just know the basic facts. Oh, Pochettino, he was good at Tottenham, so maybe bring it back. Oh, Xavi Alonso went unbeaten with Leverkusen, and he was Real Madrid manager, so he's probably good. Xavi, he was manager of Barcelona, you know, all these big names. And so that's kind of where their thinking is at. Only the big names are the top managers. Whereas if we had a bit of creativity, there probably are managers out there we could get. Unfortunately, when you talk to to Tottenham fans, you know, at games or whatever, a lot of those, this isn't a criticism of a lot of Tottenham fans, but obviously they're not sitting there watching Europe, a lot of games in Europe. I'm not saying I am either. I'm just saying in general, fans of most casual fans of Tottenham are not watching games around Europe, are they? They're watching Tottenham, maybe some other Premier League games, and that's it. So they're not going to give you an answer of, oh, I think we should get the guy from, Celta Vigo. What do they know about the guy from Celta Vigo? But that's where the board and the recruitment and the higher ups should come into play. That's where they're paid the big bucks to have that knowledge and have the know-how of who's doing a good job, who's doing what. You know what? I think it's crazy sometimes. I don't know whether they do this or not, but they say now, like scouting, when it comes to players, there are no secrets, right? That there's, every player is known. All the top clubs will go for the same players because they all know. Every player is no secret anymore. Even a player in the second division of Spain who's killing it, every top club knows about all these players. But is it the same when it comes to managers? Is it the same when it comes to teams? Is there a department around looking at the best managers around every divisions and seeing how they play, studying every single team across all the top leagues, and maybe even beyond that, and seeing how they're doing, what they're doing, and whether they'll be a good fit for Tottenham? Because I feel like that should also be in place. That we should have that knowledge, because it avoids us being in a situation where we are now, where we have a manager in place who's not working, but the only guys we can think of are guys who are unattainable because we have no creativity when it comes to coming up with managers to sign.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's a big question, and I think like picking the right manager is a lot harder than picking the right player.
100%.
So there's that to come into it as well. But the people that are making the decisions, the people at the top, Fabio's gone. So the biggest footballing knowledge in the decision-making process is gone. So we're stuck with Johan Lang.
Or even him, he only had knowledge of Serie A.
That's true, but that's true, but he's still gone. And he was the biggest football knowledge person that was there. Johan Lang.
Serie A is better than nothing.
Johan Lang, I have no faith in him whatsoever. The people above him, like, they all they know is how to maneuver a few numbers on a spreadsheet. They know nothing about football, it seems. And I think the club aren't even looking at these kind of managers, because I think the club are just hell-bent on bringing Mauricio Pochettino back at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. I think that is the clear direction of travel. I think it's a manager that wants to be here. It's a manager that loves the club. It's a manager that has done a good job here in the past. The whole of the away end was singing his name yesterday, so that even gives them more validity and more vindication of having that thought process. So I don't think they're even looking for a full-time manager now. I think they're looking for only an interim. And that's why, and that's their excuse even more, to stick with Frank for as long as possible, because they have no idea who to bring in as an interim. They're absolutely clueless. Yeah. There is no good interim out there.
I agree with you. And I think that's another damning indictment on them. In terms of, look, if you're taking it just objectively, and let's say we travel in time 4 months, Frank is still here, he then gets sacked and we need a manager, at that point, am I open and in favour of bringing Poch back? Okay, yeah, because we need a manager. He's a pretty good one. The fans get behind him, blah, blah, blah. But right now, if you're asking me, would I rather get a new permanent manager in right now or wait 4 months with Frank and go for Poch? I'm saying get one in right now. Have some creativity. Find someone who can do the job. There are managers out there. I refuse to believe there's just no managers out there who can do the job. I think there are managers out there who can step in, improve us immediately, and are good coaches and get us playing the football more like the football we want to see. And I bet they could probably do it quickly. So I don't think Poch, for me, is the end game so much so that I would wait for him to join in the summer, and it's like we just need to wait for our long lost love Poch to come back in the summer, and we can't do anything because we can't jeopardise Poch coming back. I wouldn't do that. I don't think it's worth doing. I think for me, if you can get a permanent manager in right now, you get one. But I kind of get the point. Who is that manager, and do you want an interim, all that kind of stuff? That's fine, but that's for them. They're paid millions and millions of pounds to make those decisions. So bloody do your job. Do your job, or find someone that will.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. I don't think sitting here and waiting for Poch is the best course of action. Whether they think it is or not, I don't think it is.
Well, knowing Johan Lang, he'll probably get us like Steven Gerrard as an interim or something like that. Send us down. Literally send us down. But I genuinely think they're not looking. They're not even considering a full-time replacement right now. It's an interim and then Poch.
I agree. I think that's the only thing. I think it's either keep with Frank or interim and then Poch. I think those are the two options we have, according to the board.
Yeah, I agree. And I see a lot of people saying, Poch won't be good to go back to Poch and all this kind of stuff. And there's definitely validity to that. And they're saying, his managerial career since leaving Spurs has been a bit of a disaster. But I also think there's issues and reasons why it hasn't gone according to plan. And I think at PSG, obviously, he went in there with a massive situation of player power, and obviously it's gone massively right since Luis Enrique, but Poch wasn't afforded the time and the money, and not the money, but the time and the power to overhaul that squad that was desperately needed. Obviously, Luis Enrique has been, and he's much better off for it. So I think that was a big situation there. And at Chelsea, I think he was only afforded one season. And in the second half of that season, it got better. And we all know Poch needs time to imprint his ideas and get his message across and everything like that. So I don't actually think it's been the disaster which everyone says it's been.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think he's been horrific, but he also hasn't gone well. I think that's fair to say. It's not like he's been great, but it also hasn't been the car crash that people are maybe painting it. I don't think he's as finished as people say he is when it comes to managing at the top level. I don't think his methods are so far behind him. Maybe he has sat down and reflected on some of the things. Maybe he's grown, add some strings to us, but I don't know, to be honest. I don't know what's in his head. But also, there's no evidence to suggest I think when he left Tottenham, or when he was at the height of his management in Tottenham, he was seen as one of the elite coaches in the Premier League. Now, I don't think he comes back to Tottenham with that same reputation or status. And that's, I think, the thing people are pointing at. Albeit, I mean, if you look at the top clubs, who's better than him? I guess you'd say Arteta, you say Pep, maybe Eddie Howe. Is Slot, would you say, better than him?
Well, he won a title.
He won a title, so Slot. So, but I think when he was at Tottenham, he was probably seen as like second to Pep.
But I think
Klopp, third than Klopp, only him and Klopp.
When I hear people talking about Poch, I hear them say, "Oh, he never got us over the line. Oh, he's not a winning manager," and all this kind of stuff. Like, we're not a team looking to get over the line right now. We're a team looking just to get relevant again. Mm-hmm. That's where we're at, and it's not a Pochettino looking to pick up where he left off. That's been damaged and destroyed and put in the bin right now. He is looking to start from square one again. That's where Pochettino is picking up this squad from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are diamonds in the rough there. There are players that he can work with for sure. But we're a team that are going to be consistently 2 years in a row finishing in the lower half of the table. the lower quarter of the table, probably. And, you know, when he picked us up, it was actually a team finished 6th, but with a squad that needed a major overhaul. But a lot of the players that were seemed like at the end of the road at Tottenham, he turned around and made them good players, and obviously relied heavily on youth. And I think that's what he's going to have to do here.
Here's something to posit. If Emery was saying after last game that we're not a top 5 side because of these reasons, and maybe there's a bit of evidence of him getting a bit frustrated and stuff like that. Do you think, first of all, could we convince him out of Villa, and would you? Like, not now maybe, but in the summer, potentially.
I think Unai Emery is very frustrated with the finance situation at Villa. And obviously at Spurs, it's a lot better than that. The thing is with Unai Emery, everyone wants that kind of front-footed attacking manager. And that's not Unai Emery, is it?
Well, he's not. I wouldn't say he's a defensive coach.
I wouldn't say he's a defensive coach either, but he's not the kind of football that most Spurs fans want to see. He plays effective football.
Yeah, but I'd say it's very much it's risky. Like, his football is very high line. I think he's quite adaptable, similar to like Frank in that sense.
But a lot like Emery, like he'll go like that in the first half. He'll go and then in the second half he'll like kind of sit back and I don't know if that's gonna.
He's very tactical rather than philosophical.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's a Tottenham manager, Unai Emery. I like him. I think he's a very good manager, a top manager, but I'm just not sure if he's a Tottenham manager.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, true. Whether it's the right fit is one question, but I think we saw what he did with Villa when he took over from Gerrard, didn't he? They were a similar position to us right now.
Yeah.
And he got them back into the European spots. And obviously, look, he's got them challenging for big things, like whether it be cups or Champions League spots. And looking at Tottenham, he wouldn't have the same financial restrictions.
Yeah, there's also another element to it of him being a failed Arsenal manager. Which I think comes into play as well. I think there'll be question marks over Emery from the fan base if we were to bring him in.
Yeah, I think there'll be excitement, actually.
I don't think it'll be unified excitement. There will be excitement from some people for sure.
I think it would be a popular appointment.
I'm not sure.
I think it would be if we were to announce tomorrow that
just because of what we're going through. But if it's in the summer and there's Pochettino sitting there, I don't think so.
Would you rather Poch or Emery?
Poch, in my opinion, yeah.
I think Emery would do a better job.
I think Pochettino's a better fit for the club.
That might be true.
Like I said, I really like Emery as a manager. I think he's a top manager, one of the best managers in the Premier League, in my opinion. But there's just something about it that doesn't make. I don't know if he's a good fit for us.
Yeah, I do have those reservations as well, to be honest. But I'm also willing to give it a go right now. I'll take Emery.
Anyway, that's the manager situation. There is an update on Andy Robertson as well. The Mail reporting that Tottenham and Liverpool are discussing a £5 million package in the deal for Andy Robertson. And Romano says negotiations between Tottenham and Liverpool for Andy Robertson are still ongoing. After an opening proposal sent on Friday, the two clubs remain in talks over a fee. Now, there was an interesting situation yesterday. Obviously, he came on at half-time for Milos Kerkez. I don't know if there's been an update, if it was an injury or tactical or whatever. But Arne Slot was asked after the game about Andy Robertson, and he didn't really, answer it directly. But he says, I need all my players. So do we think this is a deal that's still going to happen? Romano is still saying the clubs are in talks. What do you reckon the situation is here?
I don't think Liverpool want to lose him, or I don't think Slot wants to lose him. Van Dijk also quoted today saying he told Robertson he wants him to stay. So I think we're obviously trying to get this deal over the line. We're kind of bringing it forward after Davis's injury, and we're willing to put a bit of money up front to get him through the line. I think Liverpool, as a club, the hierarchy, they're open to it. They're open to letting Robertson leave. Robertson wants to join, but I think that as a vice captain of the club, I think Slot doesn't want to lose him, especially given the form they're in, and they need characters like Robertson right now to get through the next 6 months. They also don't want to be left short when it comes to the playing squad, and I think obviously the players probably really like him because he's been a part of the furniture for so long. So I think it could go either way because I think a lot of it might depend on Kirkes because I think if Kirkes is injured, I think Robertson wouldn't want to leave Liverpool high and dry like that. And if he's got assurances, look, Kirkes is injured, I'm going to be starting now, aren't I? So why am I really pushing to leave? I think it probably would scupper the deal, to be honest. So we'll see what happens with Kirkes.
Yeah, obviously Tsimikas is about to be recalled back from his loan as well, so that's another element to it. I think we're not going to hear anything on this until probably after Liverpool's Champions League game, or maybe we'll hear something before that. But I think he's going to be in the squad and he's going to get a send off at Anfield if he is leaving, regardless. So I think if he is to join, he won't join until after that. It'll probably be like one of the deadline day things or something, or just before.
Yep, I think so. I think agreed. It'll go down to the wire. And it's funny, it's a signing or link that split the fan base in terms of whether people think it's the right move or not. But it seems like even those ones we can't get over the line. And I guess it would be seen as a blow because I think if before the weekend it seemed like it was about to happen, now it seems like it's very much in the balance. But if we were planning to bring him in and that kind of character and we don't, that's probably going to be a blow to Frank.
Yeah, and also if we don't bring him in, that means we're going to have to trust Sousa, right? And they clearly don't think Sousa's ready. So that's another element to it.
I was about to say, will they? I don't know. Maybe they'll just do what they've been carried on doing in a doggy and Spence and play Porro every bloody week.
Yeah, probably. But look, that is your Tottenham update. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all those situations.